Hello. Earnestly podcast here, recording this on a late Thursday night here in South Florida. Going solo today. A lot of things I want to talk about today. NFL draft, some NBA playoffs, my update on my current WWF Binge from 1997, where I'm at now in my binge. I'm going from every Raw and every pay-per-view from that year in chronological order. My neck has been, first off, before getting to these topics, my neck, the right side of my neck has been a pretty big issue for the last 2 weeks. A major issue for me, actually. It's actually to the point where it impacted me working and doing other things, and I know where I got it from. I know I got it from the fact that I was sleeping wrong. I tend to have really bad sleeping habits in terms of how I sleep on my right arm, or put pressure on my neck to the point where, like, I wake up next morning or wake up from a nap and I'm like feeling like absolute shit. It just happens. I and sometimes you don't know the impact you're really making on that situation until after the fact, when you're like, oh geez, I have a my neck. And it's funny when it happened. So actually, not really funny, but when it actually happened originally, my wife, she gave me a nice massage out of it. It was a big knot there, and she took it out. But then the next day, it was still hurting, and like it was hurting to the point where even though the knot was gone, you had to go really deep into my neck, into my shoulder area, upward to my bottom of my neck to even find out where the pain was. It was so aggravating to a point that the pain was so. I mean, I could tolerate pain to some degree, but when it's throbbing pain that's going into your head, giving you headaches, and then also going into your arm a little bit too, that's a little bit of a concern. So the last few weeks has been kind of hell for me in that aspect. Today's night has been that bad. It's actually on the better upside now. I hopefully by tomorrow or Saturday I should feel a lot better. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass, man. It's really a pain in the ass. So, hopefully I get better. Hopefully it's better and it's gone for good, that kind of thing. But it came back. Actually, it went away last weekend, and then it came back like a day later. So maybe, hopefully I'm a little more conscious to where I know how I'm sleeping. The problem is that my 2-year-old still won't leave my room. And it's a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt because we actually started moving his bed into his brother's room. So hopefully, my oldest son Eli and him, in an effort to start sharing a room. He's 2 years old. Let's try to see if we can force that to happen. They can share a room, and my wife and I can get our room back. But thus far, he was able to take one nap in there the first time he did it, which is cool. But ever since then, it's been kind of tough. Like he falls asleep in our room, and then by the time he falls asleep in our room, I'm already too tired to move him from our room to the next room. So one of those things where, like, you know what, we'll figure it out down the road. It'll take a little while, but it's a process. But we gotta stick to it. It's funny with my oldest son Eli. It was easier for he never really took to laying with us. He was very independent early on, so he never took to like sleeping in the room with us. Even naps, didn't want to, didn't care. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think I've ever, other than maybe 1 or 2 times where we were on the road somewhere, or we were staying with family, whatever, and we were forced to be in the same room together as a family, has he ever slept in the same bed with me or the same bed with his mom? With my wife. And he's also independent that way. He always prefers to be by himself in his crib. Well, when the kids in his crib and in his bed later on. Logan, my youngest one, that's not the case. He is all about hanging with me and hanging with his mom, and and obviously it impacts a lot of things that we could do and whatnot. So we're really trying to find a way to start getting used to being in his brother's room, because it will be their room eventually. So that's the home thing going. That's the latest update at home and what's going on with me and the family. Shoulder issues, neck issues. I'm getting old. I'm turning 39 next week, by the way, too. Yeah, I'm pushing 40. One more year. My last year, my 30s start next week. People say you're getting older and that, and you looking forward to. Look, life is life. You're gonna age no matter what. You're gonna get there at some point. So just embrace it, and it's what you make about. It's what you make it. So anyway, I watched a little bit of the NFL draft earlier tonight, should I say? And like I said, I'm not a honk. I don't do mock drafts. I'm not into all that. I don't do all that stuff. But I will say this. This year, intrigue again, because I'm a New York Giants fan. So they had a top 6 pick of this week, number 6 pick in the draft. Last year, number 2. So obviously I want to see what they do, with the pick, as well as what they do with, what happens to the first pick in the draft, whether or not Kyler Murray will be the first pick. And I'm so glad this is all over. I said on my Periscope earlier in the week, the NFL draft and all the narratives around it, mock drafts. And it's funny, the mock drafts didn't really bother me this year. It really didn't bother me as much this year. I complained about the mock drafts for years, and oh my god, the mock drafts too. And I actually this year didn't really bother me. What bothered me was all the reporting in the last week or two, from the media saying Kyler Murray will not be the first pick in the draft now. The Cardinals will not draft him first in the draft, which is complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And it's one of those things where obviously what they're doing is agents trying to figure out ways to spin to get leverage into making draft trades or whatever it may be, whatever they're trying to do, for leverage. But you knew damn well they were going to draft Kyler Murray in the draft. I was hearing reports on 3 different occasions this week that was saying the Cardinals will not draft Kyler Murray, and I never believed it once. I was like, please, please, you don't hire Cliff Kingsbury if you're not trying to get that quarterback. Sorry, no one believed in that crap. Stop with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. Kyler Murray was the first pick in the draft tonight. I'm really proud of the guy. It actually garnered a discussion again on social media today, because right when he got drafted, I posted on social media saying, when you go back and you think about why he decided to put baseball on the back burner, because that wasn't an option for him too. Remember, he wasn't a baseball draftee last year. He was the 5th pick in the MLB draft last year, and he decided to take a shot at the NFL instead. And there's a lot of backlash, a little bit of this and that, different divided camps and whether or not you should play baseball or football. And I said, on Facebook, that if you wonder why he put baseball on the back burner, tonight is the reason why. Not only did he win, not only did he get drafted in the NFL draft, he is the top level of the draft. He is the highest pick in the draft. He can do no better than what he did tonight. So he was justified in what he did, in terms of his decision making here, in terms of going in and deciding to play football instead. Now, whether that what kind of career he has going forward, that's another situation. But he's going to make a lot of money out the gate. Got people saying that he made the right decisions. People saying that he made the wrong decision. He should play baseball. There's a lot of baseball honks on social media saying that you guarantee money and injuries. And those points are are accurate. I'm not denying that that's not accurate. That obviously injuries is a concern. The guarantee money is a concern. But here's the thing. It is actually harder to make it to the big leagues in baseball than it is in football. You know this. And yeah, he was a very good baseball player. That's what was been told. Obviously, could he have made it to the big show? Maybe not. I don't know. But he was obviously passionate more about football, and he took a chance here in football, and the chance he took won, and not only did it win, he won big, number 1 pick in the draft. You can't knock that. You can't not knock that at all. And also the money too, like I said, he'll make more money out the gate playing football. Because he'll get the max dollar of a rookie quarterback, or what a rookie should make and a rookie quarterback should make out the gate. Also, in response to the injuries and in the lifespan, it's a legitimate argument, but I think the risk is less now, because the rules now in the NFL, the rules and the way the game is officiated and called, it actually favors the quarterback now. Actually favors now where the quarterbacks can't take hits anymore. That argument will hold more water if if he was playing, running back, playing defensive tackle, playing, positions where you get hit every play. That doesn't happen anymore for quarterbacks. You breathe wrong on a quarterback, you get a flag. Just ask Tom Brady. Tom Brady is playing. He'll be 42 when the season opens this year, and he is still playing high-level football because the rules help him. So the argument it's a strong argument, but it doesn't hold enough water like it used to be. Like I would have given that more credence 10 years ago, not in 2019. The rules now favor quarterbacks. But the biggest thing here for me, as a New York Giants fan, I have to ask the question. Excuse my language for a second, but what in the actual fuck are the Giants doing? What are they doing? The Giants selected not Dwayne Haskins, who we all thought may happen, not even the other defensive guy that was slated to get. I love college football, but I don't follow mock drafts, so I don't know what the top guys outside Bosa and some of the quarterbacks are. They get Daniel Jones from Duke, quarterback. And on one hand, I'm happy that they got a quarterback because it is, as I said on this podcast many times over in the last couple months, it is franchise suicide. It is franchise malpractice if Dave Gettleman does not get a quarterback. The problem is, are we okay with the quarterback he drafted? Because it was said to be that Dwayne Haskins was the best quarterback after Kyler Murray in his draft. Instead, he goes for a guy named Daniel Jones, who played at Duke, who was decent at best at Duke. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, but again, number 6, and a guy they probably could have drafted at remember, the Giants had the 6th pick and the 17th pick in the first round. A guy also that would like to have been available in the 17th pick also. That's the argument being made on social media right now and in the last couple hours. That the Giants could have still drafted a top-end defensive player and still gotten Jones at number 17 in the draft. Maybe even in the second round. Because he wasn't highly heralded. But I think my thing now is this, because people ask me what are my thoughts. I'm getting texts from people from friends and stuff. What are your thoughts on the pick? And to me, honestly, my response all night has been this: I am not letting the New York Giants, I am not letting David Gettleman raise my fucking blood pressure any more than it has to be. It is what it is at this point. Let's see how it plays out. Because from all we know, this thing could work out. My good friend here on the podcast, and he'll be on there in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, next couple of weeks. Alphon City, Big Alf, 954 on Twitter. He had a great point. He says, people act like they know everything about everything. Like they know that this guy's gonna be a bust. How do we know he's gonna be a bust? He's absolutely. Alphon's actually absolutely correct on that. That just let this shit play out. We all play armature quarterback all day long, and then we'll end up being wrong. We don't know if it'd be good or not. Best thing to do is just to trust the process, I guess, if you call it. And that's it. I mean, it is what it is at this point. I don't know if he'd be good. I hope so. Because I've already said they needed to draft the quarterback no matter what. Wasn't sure if Haskins was the guy. I see, again, I don't even know if Haskins was the right guy either, too. But, look, the Giants, I'm going to assume Dave Gettleman did his due diligence. I'm going to assume that they did enough, background check and everything else maybe, hoping they did everything correctly in scouting this guy. Because the fans don't like it. I'm indifferent at this point when it comes to the Giants in terms of, what they're doing. Because they've been so bad the last couple of years now that they can go nowhere, but they really can go nowhere but up. Will Jones is the right pick? I don't know. I mean, what we do know is next year Eli Manning will be the starting quarterback. Beyond next year, we don't know what's going to happen. And that's all I know. That's all I know. The Giants could be fucking terrible next year. In fact, the Giants might be still pretty bad next year. I don't know. We'll see. The NFL is a weird place because you're only one player away sometimes from get back. You're always one player, maybe two players away from back contention, unless you're, I don't know, terrible team, unless you're the Raiders, But I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I mean, this is why I titled the podcast today WTF New York Giants. I don't know what they're doing. And honestly, this may actually work. It may work. I don't know. It may work. But we'll see down the road. We'll see. I mean, It's no use for me to just be pissed about it, pissed about the draft pick, be getting mad about it, stressing out about it, raising my blood pressure. I'm not going to do that. I'm not giving Gettleman and company that satisfaction. Fuck out of here with that, man. I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. I'm going to let this shit play out as it sees fit. If it works out, it works out. Doesn't work out, whatever. What's another losing season, right? Get some water real quick. I'm going to record this all the way through. Meanwhile, like I said, the draft is going on now. As recording, it's still going on. They're getting into late into the first round. I believe they just had pick number 26 go off. The Redskins trade up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll see how everything goes. Like I said, we don't know until we know later on. NBA playoffs. Couple of fascinating things have developed last 24 hours. We thought the Rockets advanced second round of playoffs. Beat Utah Game 5. We expected that after what they've done. We also thought the Warriors would advance in Game 5 against the Clippers, and they did not do so. The Clippers are now the Warriors now are forced to play another game, Game 6, which again I do expect them to win that the series and finish in 6 games. I gotta tell the Clippers, man, their 2 wins being in Oracle. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And I don't know if it's the Clippers playing hard, which obviously they are playing hard, or is this the Warriors just kind of like in stealth mode, and maybe there are real issues there with Golden State. I don't know. We'll obviously find out in the series to come. I mean, unless the Clippers do push this thing to 7 games, and then you got a situation there. But that obviously the Rockets are waiting for the Warriors Clippers winner. Obviously, I believe the Warriors will still be the winner to win. I think they'll win Game 6. I believe it's tomorrow night. Rockets, like I said, waiting winner. How about Damian Lillard? How about Damian Lillard? In that series against OKC, winning the Blazers beating the Thunder in 5 games. How about Damian Lillard? And I said on my Periscope I did I think 2 days ago that this series again, not only this series, this season again, because I had I do my Earnest speaking NBA awards every year, right at the end of the year, right before playoffs start, and for the second year in a row, I had Damian Lillard as my All NBA first team. Last year, obviously, he got it by default because Steph Curry missed a lot of time. So it was easy to place him there last year. But this year, what he's done this year, and by the way, a Blazers team that was supposed to win low to mid 40s this season, winning 53 games this year, and nobody's talking about it, winning the 3 seed in the West, but no one's talking about it. They finished ahead of Houston. This is a game behind Denver, a few games behind Golden State. They beat OKC in a series I thought they'd lose in 6. Damian Lillard, now clear-cut second-best point guard in the NBA. There's no question now. For the last couple of years, we've had this little question about these 3 or 4 point guards, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Westbrook, all that. Who's a number 1, number 2, and all that. I mean, Lillard always in the conversation, but we never had a quite of a clear answer between 1 and 2. We all assumed 1 was Steph Curry, and number 2 was between Westbrook and maybe Lillard and maybe Chris Paul. There is no question right now that Damian Lillard is the second-best point guard in basketball. And quite frankly, you can make a case for him being a top 10 player in the league right now. And what I hate to say, the next point here, is I think Russell Westbrook is no longer a top 10 player in the league anymore. And I remember on the show back in March, maybe in late February, March, I was saying on the show that a case could be made. I wasn't saying it was definitive at the time, though, because you still wanted the season to play out. You still wanted the playoffs to play out before you made the assumption. But I was saying in that moment there was a case to be made that Russell Westbrook may not be a top 10 player in this league right now. And of course, when I said that, people were like, "Oh, wait, that's a bit of a hot take there. Hold on a second." And I'm like, I'm not saying it is the case. I said you can make the case. Now, obviously, the playoff run will change that. Well, playoff run's over. Okay? The Thunder fell apart late in the year. Remember, the Thunder were the 3 seed. Westbrook, when the Thunder were winning games in the 3 seed in the Western Conference, when Paul George was getting the MVP chatter, Westbrook was playing some of his worst basketball of his career. When Russ figures this out later on, all of a sudden, the team falls apart. Now, some can be said for Paul George getting hurting his shoulder, and certainly was injured throughout the series too. I mean, I'm not saying that wasn't the case, but Russell Westbrook, is a very good player who I really enjoy, and it hurts my heart to say this, but he's not right now. He is not a top 10 player in the league right now. He's not. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that we should trade him. That you should trade him. No, I mean he is their franchise. He is the best, arguably the best player on their team. I mean, obviously Paul George already made a case this year that certainly is in the conversation. But Westbrook definitely, this year took a major step back, and I think the criticisms now of Westbrook now are, they're not warranted. He's done the past last couple of years, post Durant, and I tell you, and I hate saying this, but Westbrook's struggles and what he's gone through the last couple of years, and the way he's ended each year out in the first round the last 3 years. Now, obviously, the first year you give him a break because that team was nowhere close to Houston. When they lost to Houston the first round. But the last 2 years, that's on him. It's all on him. And the shine's off now on Westbrook. It really is, unfortunately. Now, I'm not saying you need to trade him, but his game is not going to age well unless he develops a jump shot or what Dwayne Wade had, an old man game at some point. Westbrook's game is not going to get any better. I think Westbrook is peaked right now, unless he changes his game this summer and somehow figures out a way to, become more of a facilitator too, especially. Because the thing about Westbrook is this, though. Like, yes, he averages triple-double third straight year. I get that. But those numbers feel empty now. They feel empty. Like, they feel like they're just, okay, you're getting those numbers, but is it really impacting your team in the win column? And now you're playing the excuse now. You can't make excuses now because you're playing with another top 10, 12 players in the league besides you. So there's really no excuse anymore. So I think Westbrook right now is not a top 10 player anymore, right? At least right now. Now that can change in next year and going forward, but right now, you ask me, I can name you right now 10 players right now I would rather have my team right now than Westbrook, Dame Lillard included. So sad situation, but the Blazers, they're waiting for the winner of the San Antonio Denver series, which right now is going to 7 games. The game went final about 20 minutes ago as I came out to this recording. San Antonio stay alive, so that'll be game 7. As I predicted, by the way, I did say Nuggets in 7. This can go either way though. The East is set already. Celtics Bucks, I think it's kicking off on Sunday. I am looking forward to that series. I cannot wait. The East series, both of them are going to be, in general, going to be, should be phenomenal. Bucks and Celtics, of course, and then you have the Raptors and the Sixers. I'm picking the Raptors winning their series, and I'm picking, I know I picked Boston before the year started, so I should actually pick Boston to win the series based on my preseason predictions. But right now, in the moment, if you ask me how I feel about this series, I'm leaning Milwaukee. They got the best player. Now you can say Boston has the best 2 through 7 after, Giannis. But, again, having Giannis is a big deal. It makes the other 2 through 7 on his end much better. So, I'm rooting for the Bucks to win the East anyway. So, win the whole thing for that matter. Since the Heat are gone. But, yeah, that's where I stand on that. So far, the playoffs have been kind of to some degree. But, round 2 and on, I think it'll get its right groove. I think these series now will pick up now. It'll be a lot better series now, a lot more competitive. All the weaker teams are gone now. So, well, other than the Clippers and whatnot. But anyway, one of the podcasts I did last week or a week before that, I had said that I started binging every Raw and pay-per-view from 1997. I'm on a bit of a WWF, you want to call it, binge, because 97, like I said, was a year that while I didn't watch wrestling to it, like I know what happens obviously, and I watch here and there, but I didn't really watch it in detail then. In hindsight, 20 years later, and reading up everything that's happened in 97 in WWF and whatnot, and what the company went through, and some of the things that happened, the storylines, it's so fascinating. It's arguably the most important year of the Federation. And it's I realized I had never watched every event, as it happened. Obviously, there's some events I watched in the moment, but I was not tied to that. In fact, back then I was actually watching more WCW than I was on WWF, because I followed Hogan and Savage, to the the guys I grew up with. But in hindsight, you can make an argument right now, in hindsight, that WWF, even in the moment, and looking back now, had a better product. I actually believe that WWF had a more interesting product than WCW. WCW won the war early on because of the names they had. Hogan, Savage, Piper, you name it, they had all the names. So it was easier for them to have a leg up on WWF because they had the names that were still drawing. But they also had WCW, that was a short-term thing because those guys, I feel, were not motivated to be there long-term, to do things long-term because they were they were all on bloated contracts. Hogan, you name it, any guy there was all on bloated contracts. WWF had to climb back out of the hole and get back to where they were. And, they got, obviously there's some luck involved, but the WWF's product to me in 97 was a lot more fascinating and productive, in my opinion, than WCW. That's why I always respected WWF even more, in hindsight now. Back then, was I rooting for WCW? A little bit. But anyway, right now I am now in June of 97. I just finished King of the Ring. In June. I'm watching another Raw now, so my hope is to be done this year by, say, mid. I mean, obviously my schedule and doing the podcast and writing, all that stuff, probably obviously be in the way. But so I'm hoping by mid to late May I'll probably done because I want to get to the. I think the end of 97 is where really the stuff really hits the fan. Rocky Maivia turns into Rock. Austin stuff continues. Bret Hart, leaving the company and the Montreal Screwjob and all that. I'm actually planning to do a podcast, sometime this summer, focusing solely on the year 1997 and why I believe it is the most important year and probably the best year in WWF history. Even though at the time they were still behind on the ratings, but the seeds were planted that year. The things that they were doing that year were the seeds planted for what ultimately became what they are now. That once they came back, it was over. WCW, they ended up buying WCW 3 years later, all that. So I'm hoping to do a podcast on that over the summer when it's some dead time. So that's that. Finally, before I go, a little topic I want to touch on before I go. I had something I posted on social media last week, and then, again, I got some feedback on this one. I've been somebody who's always been. I've never owned a home yet. I've never owned a home, and my wife and I have always been at odds about the topic. I've always been pro owning for years. She's always been pro renting for years. But we never actually ever agreed on that, and since we've been together, we've always rented. We had a situation one year where we did somewhat own a home. It wasn't our name at the time, sort of. It was in our name, wasn't our name. It was my in-laws, but the situation was pretty bad because the house had a lot of issues from the moment we moved in there. It was a house of horrors for us in terms of like having to fix a water heater, having to fix this and fix that, and we had to fix it ourselves because and pay out of our own pocket because it's not a mortgage, it's not a lease, it's an actual mortgage. So it left a bad taste in our mouth when we did it in the moment. So I've been one of my big obsessions lately. I've had a big obsession lately, especially with wanting to be debt free and be more frugal. I find myself now as I get older, wanting to be more frugal and be more money savvy, more money smart, if you will. And so one of the things that keeps coming up is whether or not is renting a smart move. Right now we rent a 2.5 townhouse, which we both love. We just renewed our lease earlier in the month. And we love it here. Obviously, now, in our opinion, it's a bit pricey to some degree, but that's the market. I mean, the market in general is pricey. But there's a lot of convenience I like about renting in comparison to owning. I love the fact that when something breaks, which is quite often, to be honest with you, all you gotta do is call up your landlord, or call up the office and tell them, hey, listen, this is broken, I need you to fix this. Boom, that's it, done. No cost to you. The convenience. I also like the fact, and this is something I think I've learned in the last couple of years, that I tend to get bored of places after a couple of years, and I like to have a new place to go to, a fresh place to go to, something to look forward to. So sometimes I like to be able to move every couple of years. Now, our last apartment we lived at a year ago, we were there for about 4 years. So that's the longest place we stayed at in terms of since we've been together. And we initially liked the place, and then we hated it, and we wanted to move. This place, I think, we'd be here for a long time. And one, the school, our son's school is literally across the street from there. Every place you can go to, movie theater, groceries, you name it, all in the area, all within earshot. But of course, when you rent, they jack your rent up every year. We renew. They jack it up like $30-$40. They jacked our rent up this year, about $40 this year. $40 was not a big deal, but $40 is still $40. I still defend renting because a lot of the other stuff that comes with it, and some of the peace of mind. I had a little debate with a couple of friends of mine about this, that owning, obviously you're not putting money anywhere, and I get that. The problem is I'm not handy. To me, it's not that owning is bad. It's that I don't think owning a home is the same American dream it used to be when I was growing up. Jobs change, and if you get a new job somewhere else out of the area, and you own a home and you got to move, then you have to find a way to sell your home. It's one of those things where it's only convenient according to your situation. Renting always seems to be the easier situation because you can always let it go and go somewhere else. There's more flexibility with that. So I'm not saying that owning is a bad thing. I'm not against owning. I would like to own a place at some point down the road. But I also want to own a place when it's absolutely convenient and financially conducive for me and my family to do so. And until that happens, I'm gonna continue renting. Again, I like the convenience of renting. I like the convenience of calling somebody and something breaks, which is quite often. Get it fixed, and that's it. It's a very underrated thing that happens. So, anyway, I think I'll call it for today. We went about 30 minutes into this podcast. On Twitter at EJChristian7. Of course, check out the blog at earnestspeaking.net. We'll do some writing this weekend, hopefully. I'm going to be home all weekend. I'm actually on a little mini vacation, sort of. My wife is going away for a weekend. So I took one of my days off from work, and I'm going to have 5 days off straight, hanging out with my boys. So until then, we'll talk soon. We'll probably do the podcast the next 24, 48 hours. We'll see what happens. Maybe a draft recap. Okay? See you guys later. Love you guys. Take care. God bless. See ya.